This video explains about the supervised machine learning and what are the different types of supervised machine learning, the advantages and disadvantages of using supervised machine learning. Without getting further delayed, let's get into the topic. Supervised machine learning is the type of machine learning where machines are trained with the labeled data to predict the output. What is meant by the labeled data? Labeled data is nothing but the data which has the predicted value. Basically, the label data contains two important components, namely label and features. The label is the output for a given set of inputs or the variable that needs to be predicted, whereas the features are the input variables which describe the data for a given record or example. The overall goal of a supervised machine learning algorithm is to analyze and find the relationship between the label and features from the label data. In other words, to identify the mapping function to map the input variable x with the output variable y. Supervised machine learning can be employed in applications such as risk assessment, image classification, fraud detection, spam filtering, etc. Now let us understand the steps involved in defining a supervised machine learning model. The first step would be to define a question or a problem statement, and then we determine whether the data sample is labeled or unlabeled. And we are completely interested in the labeled data set because supervised machine learning completely relies on the labeled data to predict the unlabeled examples. If the data set is labeled, we collect the data and then we split that particular data into three subsets, namely training data set, test data set, and validation data set. And what we further do is we visualize and analyze all the features in the dataset to understand which of these possess enough knowledge to accurately predict the output label. Suppose if we have a dataset which contains 20 features, out of which only 3 or 4 are only making relevance to predict the output label. So we remove the unnecessary features from that particular dataset and we completely clean that dataset and organize that by using either of these feature scaling or the feature engineering techniques, and then we identify the suitable algorithm to build and train the model based on the dataset. And then we apply the algorithm to train the dataset. In case if we need to define the control parameters, we keep leveraging the validation set. And finally, we evaluate the accuracy of the model by the test set. If the accuracy is not satisfactory, we keep refining the algorithm by looping through steps 7 through 9 until the results are satisfactory. When the results are satisfactory, we use that model for the prediction. Once the algorithm gets good at drawing the right conclusions, it applies that knowledge to the new sets of data. Supervised machine learning is categorized into two types, namely regression and classification. Regression algorithms are used if there is a relationship between the input variable and the output variable. It is used for predicting the continuous variables. Now here comes the question, what are continuous variables? Continuous variables are the values that are obtained by measuring. For example, the height of people in a class, or maybe the weight of people of a particular age group, etc. Regression can be used to forecast the value of a stock based on range of features like equity, previous stock performances, and macroeconomic index, etc. And also we can forecast the weather based on the historical data. Some of the popular regression algorithms are linear regression, regression trees, nonlinear regression, Bayesian linear regression, and polynomial regression. The classification algorithms are used when the output variable is categorical. For example, if we need to say whether a particular item belongs to this particular class or not, maybe true or false, maybe for a question of yes or no, or a approved or rejected, a male or female, etc. So we will be using the classification algorithms. The label can be of two or more classes or categories in the classification algorithms. The classification can be used to filter the spam emails, detect hate speech in the Facebook comments, detect political bias in the news articles, and to classify the customer comments based on the sentiment. Random forest, decision trees, logistic regression, and support vector machines are some of the popular classification algorithms. And when it comes to the advantages of supervised machine learning, it allows collecting data and produces a data output from the previous experiences. Here, previous experiences means the historical data. It also helps us to optimize performance criteria with the help of the experience. And these also helps to solve various types of real world computation problems. When it comes to the disadvantages of supervised machine learning models, these models are not suitable for handling complex tasks, and they cannot predict the correct output if the test data is different from the training data set. And even in cases of lack of data or the lack of diversity in the data set also leads to incorrect output. These supervised machine learning models requires a lot of computation time. So it requires a lot of time to build a model. We need enough knowledge about the classes of objects if we want to use the supervised machine learning model. And classifying big data can be definitely challenging. Now I'm sure you must have clear understanding of supervised machine learning and the difference between the regression and the classification algorithms. In case if you have any queries, please feel free to comment and definitely I will answer your queries. Have a wonderful day.